so 11th of September. It's 2020. Let's start off with a quick example. See if you can figure it out. So the second term of an arithmetic sequence is 20. And the seventh term is 55. What I want you to do is find the first term and common difference. And I'm going to give you, so the formula, remember, you will be given for the nth term, which is u1 plus n minus 1 d. I'll give you a few minutes to have a go at that. Let's have a quick look at Greg's way. Alright, Greg, what did you do?
So, key information here is we have the second term and the seventh term.
Yep.
7 minus 2 is 5, so the seventh term is 5 terms away from the second term.
Yep.
So,
1, 2,
20,
3, 4, 5.
20 plus 5 differences would get you 55.
Correct. Does that make sense? So the second term is 20. Seventh term is 55. Greg's saying, right, well, that's 5 differences away. So 20 plus the 5 differences is going to bring me up to the 25, and then you just solved it?
Yep, so you do 5d equals 35, and then d equals 7. And then that helps you get the first term also.
And if d is 7, then we go back. Sorry, yeah, d is 7, then we go back 7 from 20. And that gives us u1 is 13. Okay, nice. Okay, that's nice and quick. I probably would have gone down, just because I like dealing with these types of equations, I would substitute things in. So let's put in my un is the second term, so that's the first term, plus n minus 1, so what's n? For the second term, n is 2. Alright, so I'm just substituting the information into the equation.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. That's what you did, Ashley?
Not really. I kept it as like d, and then I did subtraction, so I cancel it out.
Oh, okay. Oh, right, okay. So, well, I've just substituted everything into the equation. I can do the same for the seventh term. Seventh term is 55. So that's again u1 plus 7 minus 1 times d. So now I've got 2 equations, which I can solve simultaneously. In order to solve them simultaneously, I'm just going to subtract them from each other. So that brings me down to where Greg was. u1 subtract them gives me 0. 6d take away d is 5d, and I end up back where Greg is. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, so the sum of an arithmetic sequence. So the sum of the first n terms of an arithmetic sequence. Did you do about the sums of them last year?
I don't remember.
Okay. It's denoted by capital S subscript n, okay? So that's the sum of the first n terms. sum of a sequence is called a series. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to come up with this formula for our, well, we'll come up with it together. So Nick, if you're watching this next part is not applicable, but you can watch it anyway because it's pretty straightforward. Alright, so the sum of the first n terms is equal to, well, it's just we're adding up all the terms, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the first term of a arithmetic sequence?
U1.
U1, alright, so it's going to be U1. And we're going to add on, what's the second term?
U2.
Or
U1 plus D.
Okay, U1 plus D. And then we're going to add on to that. What's the next term?
U1 plus 2D.
Alright. And we'll do one, oh no, what did I use? Next term is U1 plus 3D. That's enough, I think. What's the second last term?
U1 plus 9D. Actually, no, 8D.
Nope. What's the last term?
U1 plus 90, right?
If it's U1 plus 90, that means there's only how many terms? How many terms is there? We're summing up to
10, right?
no.
Right.
So the sum of the first n terms is denoted by Sn.
Oh, the
So
first n.
how many terms is
I
it?
wrote down.
Oh, did you write 10?
I
Okay.
should say 10,
Sorry, n.
Okay.
N for Norman. So how many terms is there?
Oh, okay. N minus 1D.
Right.
Oh.
So we'll do the last term first. So the last term is going to be U1 plus n minus 1D, okay? Because that's our nth term. Yep, happy with that?
Yeah.
So the one before that is going to be U1 plus
N minus 2D.
n minus 2D. Good. Alright, so that's the sum of the first n terms. But it's not particularly very nice because we've got all this stuff in the middle. We're adding up a massive sequence. So in order to deal with that, now you guys might have to reproduce this. What we're going to do is we're going to take our sum and we're going to write it down, but we're going to start at this end and we're going to write it down with this term first, then this term, and so on, okay? So I'm going to write down U1 plus n minus 1D. I'm trying to just keep this, I'm going to try and keep this the same. I'm trying to just keep these in line, okay? If possible. Maybe just watch first. The next term is just going to be U1 plus n minus 2 times D. Just out of interest, the next one's going to be U1 plus n minus 3D. And so on. Until we get back all the way to the end. The second last term is now going to be U1 plus D. And then we've got our U1. Is that okay? So I've just written it out the opposite way around. Yeah? All good, Ashlyn? Yeah. Alright, you don't need to write this next bit down. Let's imagine we've got the sequence 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay. Is it an arithmetic sequence?
Yes.
Because?
It goes up by a given amount.
Yep, it's gone up by 2 each time. If I wanted to work out the sum of this sequence, there's only 4 terms, correct?
Yep.
I would just add these up. 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7. Okay, if I'm going to use this, if I'm going to do exactly what I've done up here, well, that's just the same as writing it as 7 plus 5 plus 3 plus 1, correct? That's what I've done. I've just written this sequence out just the opposite way around, yeah? And I've just done the same here with numbers. Now, what do you notice about these things?
Oh,
They all add up to 8, right? So if I add this line and this line together, S4 plus S4, the sum of this sequence plus the sum of this sequence is going to be double that amount, isn't it? Yep.
Yes.
Yeah? 7 plus 1 is 8. 5 plus 3 is 8. 5 plus 3 is 8. 7 plus 1 is 8. Yes, Greg?
I feel like I'm going to be wrong in saying this, but would the formula then be,
Yep.
right? U1
Mm-hmm.
plus U1 plus n minus 1d times n over 2.
Why is it over 2?
Because wouldn't it be, because then you want half the numbers, because there, right?
Yeah.
At the bottom row, 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 32, and in actuality, the sum of the series is 16.
Right, okay, very good. Very, very, very good. Okay, so he's noticed that I've got, now you said it was also n times.
Oh, would it not be?
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Why is it n times it? So looking at this one.
Well, right.
So I'm going to take this up here. No, you're spot on. So he's got, how many groups of 8 have you got here?
4.
You've got 4 groups of 8, okay? So you've got 4 groups of 8. So instead of doing 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, it's easier just to do 4 times 8. I don't want 2 lots of it, which is what Greg said. So I'm going to have to half it. Okay, and that will give me my sum of these 4 terms. Yep. Now doing the same with, I'll just get rid of all this. Doing the same with the actual formula.
What would be n?
Right. We're going to Sn plus Sn is
2sn.
2 groups of Sn. If I add U1 plus n minus 1d, well, I've got, what's that give me?
2u1
Yep, 2u1 plus
plus
n minus 1d. What is these 2 terms added together?
2u1 plus n minus 1d plus d. Or, no.
It's actually the same thing. If I was to add it over here, so I've got u1 plus d plus u1 plus n minus 2d. Okay, so I'm taking this and I'm adding it to this. I've got my 2u1. I've got plus the d. Let's just multiply this out. I've got nd minus 2d. I've got plus nd. And then d take away 2d is take away d. And then take d out as a factor and we get back to here, okay? So each of these terms, whenever I add them together, I'm going to get exactly the same thing, 2u1 plus n minus 1d. Just like in the other one, when I got just the values of 8 out, I got exactly the same thing the whole way across. Alright, so it's going to be the same here. This plus this, 2u1 plus n minus 1d, and this plus this is also 2u1 plus n minus 1d. Right, now, there are how many of these 2u1 plus n minus 1d's? How many is there of them?
N.
There's n of them, because there's n terms in total. So instead of trying to add them all up, well, I can just do n multiplied by them all. Makes things a lot nicer, okay? And then, well, I don't want 2 of the sums, I only want 1, so I have to divide both sides by 2. And that gives me my formula of n over 2, 2u1 plus n minus 1d. And that is the formula for the sum of the first n terms. Now, you may have to reproduce this whole thing for higher level, okay? They may ask you to show that the sum of the first n terms of an arithmetic sequence is, and then they'll give you the formula, and the formula is in the formula booklet, but you would have to go through this whole process, okay? Nick, you would not have to go through this whole process, but you still need to know the formula, and you'll have to apply the formula, which we will do shortly. Okay, now this formula can also be written a different way, which you need to be aware of. Now, if I take it again, I've got n over 2. Now, I've got 2 u1s, yes?
Yes.
So I could write that as u1 plus u1, yep?
Yeah.
u1 plus u1 is 2u1, correct? Happy enough? And then I've got my plus n minus 1 times d. Now, the reason I did that is because what do I notice about this and this? Right, this part and this part. If you have a look up at this line here, or the sum of, like, seeing it all written out in full. So what do we notice about this bit and this whole bit? What's this? What is this part?
The first
It's
term.
the first term. What is this part? Yeah, the last term, right. Okay, it's the very, very last term. So I can also work out the formula by doing n over 2 multiplied by the first term plus the last term. Now, it depends on what they give you in the question, whether you actually get the first term or the last term, whether you can use it or not. So if I said, here's a sequence, let's say it goes all the way to 99. What's the sum of that sequence? 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, all the way up to plus 99. You could work it out really easily because you know, well, how many terms is there?
100? No, 99.
There's 99 terms. It's 99 over 2 multiplied by first term plus the last term. So I've got 99 over 2 multiplied by 100. And so that would be the sum of the sequence. Yeah. So like you can, that's why a lot of people, if you ask them, you know, what's the sum of the numbers from 1 to 100, some people can just do it like that because they're actually using this kind of method. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can get you to do some questions. All right, let's have a look at. Do you have laptops with you?
Yes.
All right. Let's. I'll put it up here actually and get a lot easier. Have a look. So this is page 15. DP1. Sorry, I haven't put it in here yet, have I? I can give you. All right, let's have a look at these for a bit of practice. Sorry. All right, let's have a look at these questions, okay? So this is page 15 from the book. For these first ones, maybe do every other one, just so you're not spending a lot of time on that. Sorry, I'm going to probably, okay. And then we'll have a look at, okay? And I'll copy this book over.